certainly got his.
They came out and they dropped
Oh, here we go.
bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
And there you go. The good, the bad, the ugly. We got the president's media critique on CNN and MSNBC at the beginning, but what you were looking, just to put it in perspective, we just got that tape fed into us. We had shown you earlier the president of the United States getting on Air Force One. This is when he was leaving the White House, getting on Marine One to go to Andrews. And the president, obviously, you can sort through the media critiques. You can sort through the F word, but geopolitically, and I'm dead serious here, his message to Israel is really the great takeaway. Guys, put up the full screen also of his Truth Social post where he just out and out is telling Benjamin Netanyahu, if you're thinking about bombing Iran, pull back. Israel, obviously, this... I don't really need to say this, but I will. This is something that we haven't seen before. In real time, Donald Trump telling Israel not to drop the bombs. Jonathan Lemire, you've covered the president very...
Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam yasha Allah, koholoyim la Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem, Chahakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us his beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes and commandments of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Hanan Waf. Just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And just grab a quick scripture. I mean, you can clearly see this man is falling. Their whole facade is caving in. A lot of it is theater too, because Trump, he's trying to save face because, he's only been in office like a half a year, and he came in there with them his campaign promises that, he'll bring peace to the world. And he's saying all that shit that he just said. He shouldn't have never done the strike that they done on Iran to begin with if he felt that way. They could have really just went ahead and talked things out. But, Esau all over the place, man. He's just all over the place. Let me get this one out. Sirach 25:7, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart, to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And that's what we're witnessing, the fall of our enemies, man. And that separation, or that division, has a lot to do with it. Matthew 12:25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Now, Trump done already pretty much ran off all the allies that they do have. Israel, is like, they kind of like going hand in hand. They pretty much just two peas in a pod. Because the rest of these nations, these European nations, so-called white people nations, they're not supporting Israel like that, man. And the narrative, as far as Israel on the world stage, people looking at, Israel like, yeah, y'all some wicked ass people to go along with these Americans. So it's all just it's toppling, man. The Lord is actually, killing this man's kingdom, because this got to happen. That separation, that division, it has to happen. And we're starting to see it break up, And as far as, the book of Revelation, talking about these other kingdoms, man, that's going to come up against America, the allies of America, because they're tired of the shit that they're doing, first off. Then they're tired of Israel as well. And since Trump has been there in these, this past 6 months, he has ruined all the relationships with the allies. Now you got the allies, they're actually putting in, I think, an extra 5% as far as the GDP towards, military might. That military might, that 5% GDP that, overall Trump and them been fussing about, yeah, y'all need to handle y'all own business. They gonna handle their own business and get their militaries up to shoot missiles this damn way. With that, but this right here says a lot, man. Matter of fact, there's another one too. I think he's backpedaling right now, like he normally does. He's been backpedaling on pretty much everything that he's been talking about, since he's been in there. First, he was talking about, rounding up all the immigrants, for ICE, with, ICE agency. And all of a sudden, the farmers are getting kicked in the ass. Hospitality getting kicked in the ass because, a lot of Northern Kingdom, hey, they clean those rooms at those hotels. They take care of a lot of that kind of work. Picking your fruits and vegetables. They take care of a lot of that work. They do construction. They do all kinds of jobs for, low income shit that these so-called white Americans are not gonna do. So and the people that's been taking getting the most advantages out of that shit is the so-called white man. It's not like they act on as if, these immigrants have been coming here and they've been just, benefiting more than the damn Edomites. No, you Edomites, y'all been benefiting off that free slave labor, that free labor, that pennies on the dollar labor. They've been getting over with that forever, man. So they're the ones that's been benefiting. So when Trump started to do his little ICE raids and shit, a lot of shit done dwindled. So now you got a lot of Americans, so-called white people, Americans, like, hey, look, you fucking up. We need these people. But they didn't think all that through. So now he's backpedaling on that, trying to, got certain little shit he got going on where, the immigrants can come and work and this. Man, look, the immigrants done seen what you're like, bro. They don't trust you. So that industry is just not going to pick back up like that. I highly doubt it. So-called white people are not going to work those jobs. And so-called black people are not going to work them neither. Don't get me wrong. Jake, when Jake need money, Jake trying to do what he got to do, Jake could go do it. But overall, Jake, last thing they trying to do is go work in a damn field. That's for sure. But he has backtracked on a lot of stuff. He'll say, tariffs on this, tariffs on that. He been talking about shutting down TikTok, and then he'll give TikTok another 90-day extension. So it's a lot of, back and forth with him on that. Let me see, is this one scripture? See if I can find this, so I can bear with me. Yeah, Proverbs 24 and 21. My son, fear thou the Lord Yahweh and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change. And Trump, he's all over the place with the change, man. He's all over the place. I'm at the plantation right now with all these Edomites, all that tough talk and all that pride. I used to be walking through the building and shit in the morning grabbing my coffee. And you'll hear the God Bless America playing in the background and shit. Somebody had that shit playing loud as hell. You don't see none of that. I don't see none of that right now. One of my partners that I normally will work with, he's a huge Trump supporter. He ain't talking all that shit no more. Cause I'm thinking they realizing that they've been duped, man. They've been duped. Because when Trump first came in and they had that, I forgot what ceremony it was, but they had the big ass Israel flag in the backdrop, talking about make Israel great. Israel first. That was their little slogan. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So you people that went out and you voted for Trump, you really thought that you was voting to make America great again. No, what you was voting for was Israel. Getting more rights than your ass were actually getting your own country. Then it came up with whole new laws, anti-Semitic laws right here in the Americas, where they have more rights right here in your country than you actually have. Crazy. Because I always say, hey, if anything happens to somebody, 911 is for everybody. So why do they need an extra law, And that's throughout the world. You know what I'm saying? But it's like they're forcing their they're forcing their way upon, these other nations. And they like, man, hey, look, we tired of that shit. Everybody's starting to see through your shit. And that internet is really what's kicking their ass. That's really what's happening. And I can actually, just me speaking as a man, you probably see some blackouts when it comes to this social media. And just like it was over there, the social media, you don't get to see a whole bunch that's going on over there in Israel. You don't get to see the real damage that those missiles that Iran have been shooting over there in Israel have been doing. They don't want you to know that. And that could be a part of why Trump wants this ceasefire as well. Because Israel over there getting bombarded from what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? So, see, America, they're going to give you this news that everything is perfectly fine. That Iran, supposedly bombed or, shot off some missiles over there at the U.S. base in Qatar, I think it was. And they try to make it seem like, well, no casualties, everything is fine. But they're not telling you the whole story. They're not about to tell you if a certain amount of people, they can't look bad. They have to look like, what did Trump do? He got on TV talking about the best military in the world. No one could have done this. No one could have done these strikes on Iran like America. We're the best military in the world. We have the best equipment. Israel has the best equipment and they know how to work it because you're supplying them with the same shit. So you're guilty. You're just as guilty as Israel is for bombing the shit out of Gaza. And all this stuff that Israel is doing, you're complicit in it. And people starting to see it and they starting to call it out. And these Americans are tired, man, because they tired of their tax money going towards bullshit like that when everything is starting to go up. Because I noticed within the past 2 days, the damn gas here done gone up like, trying to think, at least about 30 damn cent per gallon. 40 cents a gallon. And they always throw that little extra 4th of July tax on your ass anyway, because they know that people be traveling, but things are starting to get more expensive, man. Here you go, you have to spend maybe 15 to 20% of your pay on some damn gas just to get back and forth to a place where you're being taxed. He's taking taxes out of your shit at the end of the week to send to Israel. You done went from going, because Esau, man, America used to be a rustling and bustling city, man, around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. 12 to 1, that's pretty much your noonday lunch for everybody. And people used to be rustling and bustling, going to restaurants and sitting down eating, having drinks and this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying? And shit used to be restaurants was getting money. People not doing no shit like that no more, man. These so-called white people, I see them in here, They might hit the food truck here and there. But or do something in the cafeteria or whatever. But no, these people are brown bagging it. They coming in with their little brown bag, their little sandwich, and their little Ziploc bag. They got their little banana, and they're eating at their damn desk. They're not wasting no gas, jumping to their vehicles to go to no restaurant. Restaurant could be right up the street. They're not doing any of that no more. So America is caving, man, and it's all because of what Trump and them is doing. And I mean, overall, it's the Lord, so let me get, matter of fact, I was already there. Well, let me go here. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So that little spat that Trump just had, that was the Lord. Let me get this, Job 33:15 real quick. Because, people out here really believe that they have free will, and that's just not true. Job 33:15, it says, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man. So the Lord, he seals the instructions of every single person on this planet, man, as they sleep. They get up. And they perform and do exactly what the Lord programmed them to do the night before. So it just is what it is. And the Lord is in control of these leaders, man. What's lucky? What the hell happened? We came out of it. I mean, we pretty much got the gist of it. They had a little bit more of it.
Got his.
Let me see here.
Oh, here we go. Good. One. Through the media critiques, you can sort through the F word. But geopolitically, and I'm dead serious here, His message to Israel is really the great takeaway. Guys, put up the full screen also of his Truth Social post where
I mean, so he has to seem like he's the tough guy too. You know, that's how he ran too. He ran his campaign on I'm the toughest guy in the world. And dude probably ain't never in his life had a fight. Not, you know, even when he was a kid, you know. If anything, he you know, probably had a damn spat or two over of, you know, not getting what he want from his parents or some shit. But other than that, you know, he ain't never been to war. And that's crazy that you got a guy that they call him the commander-in-chief, you know, but you've never commanded an army in your life. You've never even been in the army. You don't even know how to take orders. Here you go. You got a person that's giving orders that don't even know how to take orders. That's crazy, bro. That's that's crazy work right there. He's out here acting like the tough guy, like he done been out there. He got motherfucker don't have not one medal. You got people with all kinds of medals, all kinds of Purple Hearts, all kinds, you know, that it should have been that president over this guy. So he was picked and chosen anyway. So the tough guy talk he's talking about, you know, it's a lot of it is theater. You know, he could be, he has those kind of rants and shit. He remind me of a damn 5-year-old, really, in reality. But here you go. You got this guy. He's over the so-called top military in the world. He's never been to war. You know, you've never been to boot camp. That motherfucker probably ain't never jogged a mile in his life. You know, in the military, you got to be in shape. You'll see this guy. I remember back in the days when, you know, the president would be out jogging alongside his Secret Service, man. They would be in shape. You don't have that anymore. You got a bunch of fat, overweight people. Now, matter of fact, with the draft or with their military recruits, they're gonna, you know, they're just letting anybody in now. You don't even have to meet the, you know, the criteria of what they used to have you doing. You used to have a certain IQ. You used to have to damn sure be in shape, you know. Now you got a bunch of damn the military, you know, dancing on damn TikTok. Motherfuckers twerking on TikTok, voguing on TikTok. I was watching that video with the brother earlier. Here you go. You at a military base. You got women in the military base with some tight ass fatigues on, bouncing their ass, man, to some rap music. This is your military. They don't allow that shit in no other countries like that. You get caught on social media, they probably don't even have access to social media in a lot of those countries, which a lot of them they don't. But, you know, these Americans, man, this shit is through. If you thinking that if you seen the parade 2 weeks ago here, what was it, about a week or so ago, that 250-year parade that they just had, that shit was sad. That shit was embarrassing, bro. So I can imagine these leaders sitting around laughing at this too. You know, you on national TV having a damn temper tantrum. That's one thing about being a world leader. You know, even the scriptures talks about being slow to anger. You know, and you know, a soft answer, so to speak. You have to use wisdom with your words and stuff like that. Here you go. You got the commander-in-chief over the top military in the world. And he's having spats like that on national TV. Now, that shit that you say in private. You know, that shit that he just said, we shouldn't even have heard that. But that lets you know how, you know, unhinged this guy is. You can't, you know, you got the scriptures, you know, the King Solomon, plenty of scriptures, it just goes off into, you know, the way a king should be acting. Matter of fact, I think, let me see. I think I was reading in Ecclesiastes. Hey, was it trying to think, was it Ecclesiastes chapter 10? Yep, dag, right on point here. Let me see. Ecclesiastes 10:16. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. Blessed art thou, O land, when thy king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season, for strength and not for drunkenness. So, let me see, there's precepts on that too. Nope, that's not it. You overall, you don't want no foolish king, bro. You don't want somebody that don't have no self-control. Because you have to be, the scripture talks about being slow to anger. And this dude, he's too wishy-washy. He's too flip-floppity. I mean, we talking about somebody that, done been in and out of court all his life. That's the only way he know how to fight, as far as, putting up a fight. Yeah, he'll put up a fight with the best lawyers in the world. He'll spend money to get those lawyers to fight fights for him. They'll give him some advice. They'll say this, that, and the third. He got some lawyers that, pretty much, will have his best interest in mind. But this guy's never fought nothing other than the court. He been fighting in the courts all his life. Ever since he took over that inheritance of his father's, man. Back and forth to court, back and forth to court. Matter of fact, right now, he still got shit going on in the courts, man. Stormy Daniels shit. The other chick, the other, I don't know, that old ass crypt keeper looking chick, you know what I'm saying? They're suing him for, I think, $83 million. He trying to get a lot of those cases dropped. 34 felons. He still, all that backdrop stuff, he still got backdrop court stuff going on that people don't really know. So you don't see it in the news like that no more, but still he got lawyers working overtime. Or 24 hours a damn day he got. I can't even imagine what his lawyer fees are. Like, who's paying for all these damn lawyers that he's got? He's the president while fighting court cases like a regular citizen, just going back and forth to court. But of course, as the president, they're not gonna, I'm assuming he's using the American resources to do a lot of the shit that he's doing, man. Because I can't see nobody. I mean, come on, bro. That's too much going on. He's worried about that shit. You got situations you just try. Come on, bro. You worried about Russia and Ukraine. You worried about this. You G7. You too many places. Got too much shit going on, and you can see he's stressed too. That presidential job, man. I put it. You see the stress. You see the change in men when they get that job, man. That shit is not a simple job, man. It's just not. So I guess we'll see what's gonna happen, in the future here. But hey, we gotta love it. We love seeing the fall of our enemy. We pray for more and more of this to happen, and it's gonna happen because again, that division has to come into play before that plays a big part in prophecy, because that's what they've done. They've caused discord among brethren. They've caused separation in families, separation in countries. That's why you'll have somebody like South Korea, North Korea. They're the same people, but America, what did they do? They went off in there and put those people against each other. Same with, a place like China and Taiwan, same people. Even the Russians and Ukrainians. But America is notorious for going in to countries and causing a bunch of goddamn chaos, putting in their little puppet leaders that they want, and then taking all the resources. And so they've been doing that for so long, now they're starting to reap what they've sown. That's exactly what's happening. Matter of fact, let's can end out here in a sec here. Galatians 6 and 7. It says, be not mocked, be not deceived. Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And that goes off into a nation as well. Whatever the leader, your nation, whatever you've been sowing, that's what you're going to reap, man. And America been getting down like that for a long time. So let's get Job 34 and 29. It says, when he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only. So the Lord, he deals with nations, and he deals with the individual people within those nations. Because he brings nations up, he brings nations down. See, you got the average person, especially these Americans, they don't know what's going on. They believe that a nation is the a continent, or what a country is being called. Like, you got Jake running around here. They actually think that they are actually Americans. You see, there's no American in the Bible. There's 18 nations that the Lord created, and all 18 of those nations are situated right here in America, because America accepts anybody or anything. All religions are here. You know, you got all these different nations all stuck in these different neighborhoods and shit like that. Then they'll call this place the United States of America. But you got other ethnicity of people here that don't even like your ass. Join in your military. And then you want to get to talking about sleeper cells and shit. You got so-called Chinese people in the American fucking military. You got so-called Russian people in the American military. Japanese people, so on and so forth. It don't make no difference what's your ethnicity. You can join this man's military, but you're not about to see nothing like that in China. You know, China not that goddamn stupid. You ain't about to see no so-called white men, you know, in the military or running no parts of government over there, because the scripture says to never trust thine enemy. Here you go. You talking about all kinds of illegals coming into the country. Well, what about the regular citizens that you know they could have been born here? There's plenty of so-called Chinese people that were born here. Plenty of so-called Russian people that were born here. You know, from little kids up, probably like basketball, rap music, this, that, and the third. Well, how do you know that, you know what I'm saying, they're not being trained at their house to actually do some shit to your ass in the future? It's movies like that. But this man will let anybody join his military, man. Now and it's not smart. Here you go, you Edomites, you stole this place. You know, but you want other people to help you defend it. And you, Jake, y'all got it real bad when it comes to thinking you're fucking Americans, man. But these people are about to show you that you're not Americans, man. Continents, land masses, those are not ethnicities, man. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are Israelites. And all these other nations, they hate your guts. And you can get that confirmation in the book of Psalms chapter 83, because the Lord has enemies, and those enemies of the Lord, they hate you because he chose you out of all the nations that he created. You are his portion. You are his inheritance. And the Lord is really doing everything that he's doing on behalf of the Israelites. He's about to tear this place apart because of his inheritance, the apple of his eye. You Israelites, man. So we're just waiting on more to come, man. It's getting interesting. So again, hey, continue on praying for the downfall of this kingdom, because it's working, man. Don't think that our prayers are going unanswered. The Lord is hearing our prayers, man, because we're seeing on a day-to-day basis more pieces being torn apart from this place, man. So I'm going to end out there. I pray that this lesson was edifying. With that, Kwame Yasha Allah and the Bible Ball.